Good evening, guys. Am I audible and am I visible too? Let me confirm. Yeah, okay. So, how are you all guys doing today? It's Friday, right? Mine was too good. Friday. Yeah. Good evening. Just a second. All right. Let me connect my tab. Yeah, I'm too good. It's weekend mode. Yeah. Saturday's approaching. True. So, let me just tell you guys. Today and tomorrow's class is too important. Today's class is too important. So don't miss any of the thing. All right. Okay. Today's class is like a foundation for your entire course. Okay. So that we'll just wait for another 2 minutes, right? And then we'll quickly start. I hope my slides are also visible to you. They're like introduction to programming, right? है ना? Cool. ठीक है. So any doubt you have from yesterday's class? Like we studied yesterday a bit about how we'll progress in the future, all right, and how the things will be go and what kind of technologies that we will use in our like for the classes, and what and all things are required like prerequisite you can say about it, right. So let me know if any of the no doubt you have, all right, then we'll quickly move further, है ना? So it's around 8 and 2 minutes, all right, so we'll just progress quickly so that we'll not waste much time today, because today's class is really important. So please do focus on it. Okay. Okay. I'm sharing my screen. Let me know once it is visible to you all guys. Uh, cool. It's visible now. Okay. So good evening, guys. This is the second class. Technically, it's second class. It's third, but originally it's second class of your entire career. Okay. Okay. I hope am I audible and visible too? Everyone, for everyone. Na? Okay. Cool. Okay. So, without any further wasting time, we'll just quickly start for today, and I'll just make an agenda for today. And like yesterday, we learned about a bit about the programming, okay, bit about JavaScript also, like in basic introduction of JavaScript, Node.js, and how the software development life cycle is working in our entire course, right? So we had seen that in yesterday's class. Now what the today's agenda is, I'll just quickly make the context clear for you all people so that we will not miss any of single point. All right. So the first thing that we will look today, that will be like the programming. Okay. Like introduction to programming, what and all things that will be required for the programming thing. Then we'll quickly focus on the paradigms. Okay. Paradigms means like to solve any kind of particular problem, that is called as paradigm. Okay. So we'll also look at the different kind of paradigms today, and we'll look into that in detail. Okay, there are many subtypes of that, and the main concept that we will look in this paradigm is like object-oriented programming. Okay, that is also called as OOP or OOPS, like object-oriented programming concepts that generally people say about it. This is the heart and soul of today's class. If you don't understand anything, let me know. But this things I don't want anyone of this class to not understand like this concept today. Okay, this is really important for your entire software development career. Okay. uh yeah, so Shivam, please refresh the page. Okay, then it will be fine for you. Okay, please refresh the page. Okay. All right. Then we will quickly move on the different kind of procedural programming languages, like different kind of programming approaches. We will discuss about the approaches. Okay. So mainly we will discuss these things today. Okay. Then in the tomorrow's class, I'll in this today's break, I will list down some links so that you can download the Visual Studio and all the requirement like required software. I'll post down the links as well today. Okay, try to like complete the installation from like tomorrow. Like tomorrow we have at class at 10 a.m. right? So try to install that before 10 a.m. if you can do. And if not, if any installation error is there for you, I will complete in the class itself. Okay, so don't worry about that, but try to make try to download the installation file because some files are really big. Okay, all right, so it will not be possible entirely to complete in the class. Okay, so yeah, so now we'll quickly start with the first concept of today, that is introduction to programming. See guys, I'm not a big fan of uh, teaching from the slides. Like it will be too boring for you guys to teach from the slides such as this is the introduction of programming. These are the basic slides that we will look upon it today. Okay, but see, for this class, for the couple of 2 or 3 slides we will go through it, that but my major style of approach to teach is to from my tab only. Okay, I'll teach from my tab so that you can understand well the concept well. If you find any problem in that, we'll also cover the slides. Okay, so we'll not miss out any single concept. Okay, is that okay with you all guys? Okay, cool. All right. So yeah. So introduction to programming we have started. So see, uh, why we need programming? Okay. The first and foremost question would be, sir, please tell me what is this programming and why we are discussing it about today. Okay. This is my main concern today. Like why we are learning the programming. Okay. So see, people, programming is nothing but a set of instructions. Okay, it's nothing but a set of instructions. For an example, in real life example, suppose let's take someone's name, like I'll take the name of Vishnu. Okay, so Vishnu has just joined today. Okay, so Vishnu wants to bake a cake. Vishnu wants to bake a cake. Okay, now he searched a little bit and he found a book, a recipe book. He found a recipe book in his bookshelf. Okay, he found this book of how to bake a cake. In this recipe book, there are multiple instructions are given. Like let's say first prepare a dough, then like add a little bit of salt, add some chocolate, add some cocoa powder, add sugar. Okay, add maida in it, or and then put the dough in the oven and make it till 50 or 60 degree of temperature. So this kind of instructions, these are the instructions are given in this particular book to prepare this cake. Okay, so if Vishnu follows these 8 instructions, this is pretty much sure that he can able to bake a cake and he can prepare a cake well. Okay, so this kind of things, let me put it in this way. So this kind of process if he follows, then he can make sure that he can able to bake a cake. This thing is clear with everyone, है ना? Yeah, I'll teach everything like theory plus practical, so don't worry about it. Yeah, Nilajan, I'm repeating for you. So what I'm telling you is we are learning right now a programming, so I'm setting a context for you so that you can able to understand really well. I'm telling you that suppose a guy Vishnu, okay, from our batch, he wants to bake a cake. He found a recipe book in his bookshelf. In this recipe book, there are 8 instructions are given. Let's say to prepare a dough, then put it in an oven, add some salt, add this much amount of water, add some this amount of cocoa powder. So this kind of instructions are already being given in this particular book. Okay, if he follows these instructions, he will be pretty much sure that he can able to bake a cake. So this is what I have just now told. Okay, so is this clear with you? है ना? Okay, ठीक है. Now let's say, so this is nothing but a instructions, right? So this is nothing but a programming. This is called as a one kind of a program. If someone follows this program, he or she can able to produce some output. In this case, this is a cake. Okay, so programming is nothing but a set of instructions. If you follow that, you can achieve something that can be the output of this particular program. So this is called a programming, like a set of instructions. Okay, ठीक है. Everyone clear ना? Cool, ठीक है. Now we are seeing another thing. Let's say why we need this particular programming and why we are learning. Like we understood that what is programming, but why we are learning it. Okay. So let's say for an instance, if I'm telling you that if you have seen the WHO conference, okay, if you have seen the WHO conference, in that our Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, okay, our Prime Minister PM Modi, who is from India, wants to communicate with the Prime Minister of Russia, Mr. Putin. Okay? Now, Prime Minister of India don't know anything about Russian language, and Prime Minister of Russia didn't don't know anything about the Hindi language. It's like Indian language. Okay? So they hired a particular translator. He knows Hindi as well as the Russian language. So it's basically a mediator between these two guys. Whatever he speaks, Mr. Modi speaks, he will translate into Russian. He will tell Mr. Putin. Mr. Putin will tell the translator in Russian language. The translator will explain each and everything in Hindi language to PM Modi. So this is how they are working. Similarly, similarly in our case, in our life, we understand. We almost everyone understand right now English. Okay? So we write our code, our programming code in English language. This is a machine. Okay, this is a computer machine. Machine understands only two things. It's also called as binary language. Binary means 0 or 1. 0 or 1 means false or true. In the machine, in the every machine, if you have understood, like if you have learned about the physics of class 12, we use semiconductor. We use something called as semiconductor. Okay, semiconductor is like a mediator for electricity. So either electricity would pass from the semiconductor, or either in the the electricity would not pass from the semiconductor. So this is the only two state which is possible from it. So if electricity is passing, then you can consider it as a one or true state. If electricity is not passing, then you can consider it either zero or false state. This language is known as binary language, or it's also known as machine level language. Okay? Or it's also known as assembly language. There are many names for it. So for now, you can understand that every machine, it can be either your laptop or my laptop, my MacBook, or everything. Machine will understand only and only this binary language. In this binary language only two things is possible, 0 or 1. Okay, this is known as binary language, machine level language, or assembly language. Till now this point is clear, है ना? This point is clear, bit clear. Okay. Okay. Now what I was telling you that we write every code of our in English language. Okay, so we need to do something that can translate our English language code to machine language code, that is binary language, machine level language, or assembly language. So this English language should convert in this particular binary language. So we hire a particular thing called as compiler. Okay, we can tell that this compiler will convert our English code to binary code which machine will understand. Okay. Okay. So this is also known as like programming language like compilation. Like this will ultimately compile our programming language to machine level language so that our computer will understand eventually. Okay. So compiler, what does this compiler do? And there's another thing that is called as interpreter. We'll just look into like few minutes, after few minutes. For now, just understand this thing entire this thing. If you want to understand it better, what I'll do, till now everyone understood it, or you want more explanation in that? Yeah, binary and assembly languages are same, Rahul. They are same. Okay. That assembly language is different, Harsha. That assembly language is different. I'm talking about like machine language. It also known as like assembly language is also which is the same. What is interpreter? We'll cover it in like 5 minutes. Please give me 5 minutes. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'll just quickly start with the programming paradigms. Please bear with me for some time because this is the main fundamental of your entire course. Those who were not there in the initial minutes of the class, this class is really important for your entire career, not just for your please pay attention in this. Okay, just hold on for a minute. uh, okay. All right. Okay. So what is paradigm? We are discussing about programming paradigm right now. Now, first understand what is this term called as paradigm. Okay. So paradigm is nothing but a method. It's a method to solve, okay, a problem or task. The paradigm is nothing but a method to solve a problem or task, like how we will solve a particular problem. If you are given with a particular problem, then you need some steps to solve that particular complex or easy problem, you know. So you need some steps, or you need some method, you need some guidance to solve that particular problem or task. That is called as paradigm. And programming paradigm is nothing but how you will solve this particular method or problem using the programming language. It's also, you can also tell it like approach to solve problem using programming language. Okay, this is known as programming paradigms. Am I clear with this? No, it's not a flowchart. It's like flowchart is also a representation of like solving a particular problem, but here I'm contexting something different. But you can, for now you can relate with flowchart, like step by step process to solve the particular task. Okay, so I'm repeating myself for now. We have many paradigms in our programming languages. Okay, so right now I'm explaining about the paradigm. What does this term paradigm means? So paradigm is nothing but a method to solve a particular problem or task. You can relate it right now. You can also relate it with algorithm or flowchart. Okay, because they are also like helping you to solve a particular chart or problem. Okay, and approach like programming paradigm is nothing but approach to solve the problem using programming language. Using programming language is called as programming paradigms. That is what I have explained. Now we will see the types of the programming paradigms, but only then you are clear with this particular paradigm in programming paradigm. Am I clear with this now? है ना? Clear है? Crystal clear है? See, you are all have paid money. Okay, you are all investing your good amount of time in this particular course. Try to get 50x of it from this, from entire, like every 1 minute you have to produce 50x, then and then only you can be a pro in particular no language. Okay. uh Pratyush, can you please tell me which particular part you want to me to repeat? Murthy, for you as well, which part particularly you want me to repeat? Paradigm. Okay, it's called as paradigm. It's, you have spelled it wrong, Pratyush. Okay. So if I'm giving you the example of, let's say for an instance, we will take the example of cake. Okay, so we'll take the same example of cake. So in this cake, I told you that you had this recipe book, right? In this recipe book, you had 8 steps mentioned. Okay, if you follow this 8 step, you can able to produce this cake. So you can also tell that this is the paradigm to bake a cake. Okay, like if you want to like add two things, if I will tell you that please add number 2 and number 3, what you will do, you will just uh, use the operator of plus, addition operator, 2 plus 3. So this is how you will solve your task, this is how you will solve your problem. Okay, so I'm explaining you that there has to be some method to solve a particular problem or task. I'm repeating myself again, so that you can able to achieve your output. This is called as paradigm. And if you will use the programming in some programming language to do this, it will known as programming paradigm. It's just as simple as that. Am I clear with this now? Yeah, procedure to solve a problem, correct. Okay, this is highly important, guys, so please pay attention. Okay, now I will explain you one most important concept. That is, if I told you that the programming paradigm, okay, you understood this. Good. Now it has two types. Programming paradigms has two types. The first one is called as imperative programming paradigm. The second one is called declarative programming paradigm. Okay, cool. Now in this particular, first we will learn about this imperative programming paradigm. Let me tell you that it's pretty much old, like it's way back that people have approached in this imperative programming paradigm. Declarative is comparatively adapted by many companies now, but you can tell that this both are now used in many particular languages. Okay, anyway, we'll just first look into first the specifically imperative programming paradigm for now. Okay, so imperative programming paradigm is nothing but like it works on changing state of program through assignments and do step by step processes. What does this mean? This is nothing but, let me just first show you a diagram. This is nothing but uh, uh, I'm uploading a file. Just bear with me for a minute, okay? Okay. Let me know once you will see the diagram. Okay. Okay. You see? Okay. So it's called as Nomen basic structure. Okay. Uh, 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 okay. So it's called as Nomen basic structure. It's suggested by Van Neumann. That is why it's called as Van Neumann structure. It's nothing but in the 1950s or 60s, he had suggested this architecture. What does this architecture means? That in the IO architecture, you have this input devices. For now, you can consider this input devices as your mouse or your keyboard. Okay? So this mouse or your keyboard or any input devices are your input devices. It will ultimately call your ALU, that is also called as ALU, that is called as arithmetic logic unit. In that arithmetic logic unit, your addition, your subtraction, or your all operations will be conducted in this particular unit. In the control unit, whatever you are inputting the signals, it will handle by control unit. The control unit will communicate to ALU. The control unit will communicate to memory. The memory will also communicate to ALU. So this is called as particularly a processor. Okay? So this is particularly known as the Van Neumann architecture, and this is what does the mean about the imperative programming paradigm. Okay, how it is related about with the imperative programming paradigm. Let me just tell you. Uh, yeah, memory the means the RAM. Okay, RAM or anything about the related to memory. Okay, so as I said that it will work on changing state of programming. Like in our case, it was to the input device to the to the control units. So it works on that way through the assignments and do step by step process. So this is what does the like theory means. But in the practical, if you want to understand, then let us take the example of the same of the cake. In the cake, in the recipe book, the 8 steps were mentioned. Okay, so this 8 steps is nothing but a procedure. It's a step by step procedure to achieve your task. Okay, so it's nothing but a procedure that we will follow in order to produce the cake. But the main important thing here is, for an instance, if you have particularly this thing, so it's basically like, if I can tell you, then it's basically focus on how to achieve your task. That means if you are at point A right now, in your point A, if you want to bake a cake, you have 8 steps, like 8 blocks. Okay, this 8 blocks. You want to go till the point B. Point from point A till the point B, you want to go. This 8 step is nothing but the ingredients. Okay, this is clear. This is 8 steps are nothing but the ingredients. Okay, so you are just focusing on how to get from point A to point B. That is it. That is your main ultimate life concern. That how to achieve my task, how to bake a cake. So this is the example of this particularly imperative programming. Now, how you can relate with real time thing? Like this is also a real time thing, although, but if I will just explain you about the types of the imperative programming paradigms. So for an instance, if I'm giving you example, then imperative programming paradigms. Okay, it has the many types. First one is the procedural. It will follow the procedural paradigm. Second one is the most important. I cannot emphasize how important is this in this particular lecture. If you want to take something with to you, something with you till lifelong, you can take this known as object oriented programming. Object oriented programming. What is object? We'll look into it. For just bear with me for 2 minutes more. Okay. third one Third one is called as parallel programming. Okay. Till now, we'll look into each and every point, like we'll look into it, like what is procedural programming, what is object oriented programming, and what is parallel programming. We'll look into it, but till now, are you clear with me? Like, I'll share with the architecture, I'll share the architecture with you, Tapasvi, don't worry. Okay. Yeah, cache is in the process. So okay, Nishant says sorry, you can text clear. Okay. Yes, I'm repeating the imperative programming paradigm, don't worry. Okay. So you can consider that, see, in the imperative programming paradigm, you are just focused about the achieving the task, no matter what. If you want to bake a cake, you are just follow the step which is given in the procedure in the recipe book. You will just follow that. In the point A, you will just add this particular 8-step ingredients, and what and all the methods is mentioned in this 8 steps. You will just follow that, and you will achieve your target, that is B, that is your cake. So if I'm telling you that, if you want to send me a picture, or if you want to send me a mail, then previously in this imperative programming, you are concerned with how to connect with the network, like, right, how to upload the file. You can enter your particular credentials in order to open the network bus. Like, there's a term called as network bus. You have to open the network bus, you have to transmit your particular bytes which are in the file. You will transmit it into my account. I'll receive your mail in my account. So this is whole long process, right? You are not concerned about it. You will just open your Gmail account or your Apple ID account, like Apple Mail account. You will enter my email ID. You will just upload the file. That is it, you are done. You are not bothering about how the behind the scene what is happening. Okay. So behind the scene, what and all steps are mentioned, you are not bothering about it, but previously it was bothered about. Okay. So we are learning that imperative programming is like particularly following the steps. Okay. In order to like produce a cake, you have to complete these 8 check boxes. Then and then only you can able to bake the cake. That is as simple as that. Am I clear? Okay. Deepak, you can watch the recording, because till now we had done a little bit more thing, but you will not miss. You can also continue with with this particular point as well. Yeah, step by step process. That is correct. That is absolutely correct. I'm creating a poll. Let me know that you all people have understood with thoroughly or not. We are also create like in this particular lecture. We are just focusing on this particular part, so don't worry. If you have missed something, you will eventually get it in the like 5 to 10 minutes or in the next slide. Okay, don't worry about it. Yeah, Kunal, bear with me. Okay, Kunal, can you please tell me like which particular part you want me to explain again, because I have explained twice, I think so. If any particular thing you want me to explain, then I'm really happy to help you. Can you please point out the particular part that you want me to explain, Kunal? Okay, yeah, I'll continue. If you want me to, like, if you still want me to explain more about this particular thing, you can just let me know. I will explain it for you. Don't worry. Okay. Okay. Now, we were about this particular thing, that is imperative programming has 3 parts: procedural, object oriented, and parallel programming. Let us start with the first one, that is the procedural. Okay. So, in the procedural programming, in this particular procedure programming, your focus is entirely your focus is entirely on procedures, following the procedures, or you can tell your focus is entirely on like following the procedures. In our case, in our example, the recipe book. Okay, we just focus on that, that whatever is written in this particular procedure, like recipe book, you have to follow the procedure. That is it. That is particularly called as procedural programming. And and uh, for an instance, if I have given you the example of adding the number 2 and number 3, you will use this particular additional operator, like addition operator. Okay, this addition operator in the backend. In this a particular addition operator, that you like the programmer have written hundreds of lines in order to add particular two numbers. Okay, so if you will just use this particular plus symbol here, the entire thing, like hundreds of line, will be replaced by this. So in the particularly your 2 plus 3, if you are doing 2 plus 3, then the first 2 will be converted in your binary language. For an instance, you can consider this something like this. For an instance, 3 will be like this. I'm just giving the hypothetical scenario, and this is not entirely true. Like this is not a binary 2, this is not binary 3, but hypothetically consider, suppose that this is a binary number 2, binary number 3 is this. If you want to add this two number, you have to call this particular procedure that will add two numbers. If you will call this particular procedure, in that particular procedure, suppose 200 lines, 200s of lines are written in this particular procedure. You have to follow that particular procedure. It will return you the output, which is equivalent to something called as this, which is equivalent to nothing but a decimal 5. This is a binary 5. Because why we have to convert it in the binary? Because machine will only understand the binary thing, that I have explained in this. Explained in this. It's just the same thing, like Modi can't understand Russian, Putin can understand Hindi. They needs translator. The same way, machine can't understand what is the number 2. They cannot understand the number 2. But if you will convert it into the binary, they will understand it. If you convert the 3 in the binary, they will understand it. Now, if you want to add this particular two numbers, you have to call this particular procedure. Okay, this is the 200 lines of procedure. Hypothetically, you have to call that in order to add two numbers. This is called as procedural programming. But what is the advantage of this? What is the advantage of this procedural programming? uh, Advantage is pretty much simple. Don't worry, I will share this particular entire notes of mine that I'm writing now, right now. I'll share it with you, so don't worry, just focus on the concept right now. Okay, the advantage is pretty much simple, that you can reuse the like components, reuse the components. That means if you have written the this lines of codes that will be add your two numbers, you can use this particular thing anywhere in your program. You don't have to write this entire 200 lines multiple times. Okay, so you can reuse this particular procedure whenever you want to add two numbers. This is the advantage of this particular thing, procedural programming. Am I clear with this procedural programming? ठीक है, क्रिस्टल क्लियर है, सिंपल है ना एवरीवन? ओके, कूल, ठीक है, गुड, awesome, awesome, ठीक है, fine. Now we will now look at the second paradigm that we had looked upon, that was really most and most important. That was oops. This is also called as, some people are called as that oop, or some people also called as oops, but it's basically mean that object oriented programming. So all the guys that like they have studied like computer science or any engineering background, they have dedicated subject on this particular object oriented programming. We will summarize that particular thing, the crux of it, the essence of it in 20 to 30 minutes. Okay. But for the people who have the computer background, this is much easy for them. Let me know, like, how many people in our class that have already know about this object oriented programming. Let me just clear, like, make a pool. I know you can click on true if you have know about the object oriented thing. If you don't know, don't feel low. Will learn it well. Click on false if you don't know. Click on yes if you know. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Cool. 50%. Oh, 51% people knows about it. 51% people, like 49 people, 49% of people don't know about it. Cool. Yeah, pretty awesome. So that we'll learn in detail. Like, I'll emphasize more on this. Don't worry at all. I'm with you. Okay. Cool. Okay. So whenever you are focusing this object oriented programming, it has two things. Two most important things. The first thing is known as class. The second thing is known as the object. Okay. Okay. So the class is nothing but the class is nothing but a blueprint, just like a map. Okay. That has the two things. This blueprint will have two things. The first is state, the second is behavior. Cool. Now, what does this mean, state? Like, if you combine these two things, state plus behavior, that will form your class. Okay. Let's understand what is state. The state means nothing but a variables. Like, state is nothing but a variables, and behavior is nothing but a function. Okay. Function, or you can make a call as method. You can call anything like that. Okay. Let's take an example. Suppose if you have a ball. Okay. If you have a ball, now, uh, I'll ask you its properties. Okay. I'll ask you about the properties of it. Like, what is the size of the ball? What is the color of the ball? What is the brand of the ball? Okay. What is the durability of the ball? Okay. So, and what is the type of the ball as well? Good. Okay. This is called as properties, or you can call it as a state that we have looked upon it. Like, this is the state. It's also called as variables. It's also known as properties. It's also known as state also. Okay. So I told you that class is the combination of the state and behavior. We looked upon it, like what is the class, like what is the state little bit. Let's understand what is the behavior. Okay. What is the behavior? If I can talk about the behavior, then anything, like you can throw the ball, you can cut the ball, or you can stroke the ball. Okay. So this is nothing called as a behavior or the functions of the particular ball. Cool. Now, this is not end here. This is not end here. As I said, the class, that is the your blueprint, is equals to your state plus your behavior. That it means your action. You can also tell that. So this is clear. Like, up to this point, any doubt? Any doubt? What is class? Yeah, buy, kick. Yeah, there's also push, catch, bounce, weight, material are properties. Correct. Good, good, good. Till this point, clear? What is the class? If you understood, click on true. If not, click on false. I want every one of you to be crystal clear. How can buy be a behavior? I didn't know, like I haven't written buy here. I've written throw and cut and stroke, not buy. Yeah, clear up to this point, right? Dipanshu, clear na? Dipanshu? Yeah, okay. Ojas, can you please tell me which particular point you want me to repeat? Like which particular point you want didn't understand? Okay, forget about it. Okay, behavior. ठीक है. Okay, so guys, uh, okay, let me tell you one another thing. If you have a car, ठीक है? If you have a car, everyone, please pay attention. ठीक है? Please pay attention. I will request every one of you. I cannot emphasize how important in this. Okay. So in this particular car, uh, your properties. Can anyone tell me what could be the properties in this particular car object, like car class, engine color, like engine and color. Cool. Okay. Next, car model. Okay. Okay. Good. Next, seats, like how many seats are there. Correct. Okay. Good. Self-driving or not, size of the car, type of the car, interior of the car, petrol or diesel, like we can emphasize this on the type of the car. So these are the properties. Okay. So these are the properties. Now with this particular car, what could be, like if I can example of the behavior, what could be the behavior, like what could be the function of the car? If you bought the car, if you buy the car, like what will you do? Travel, drive. Okay, drive can be your behavior. Okay. Next is mileage. Mileage is not the behavior, it's property. Take, long drive. Yeah, you can also tell that like automatic drive. Okay. Then like it's all this is nothing but a drive also, like so we can remove this drive. Okay. You can do accident of the car. Okay. Next is washing. No, washing is not a car. Like washing is not the function. Yeah, you can. Yeah, yeah. Up to certain point. Yeah, washing could be your behavior, because you can do whatever action you can do to this car. This is known as a behavior, and whatever the property that car is existing having, that is known as state of the car or the properties of the car. And if you combine this two entire thing in a box, okay, so it is nothing but a blueprint of a car. How it will become a blueprint, that uh, मैं आपको बोलूं कि this is a car, I'm selling the car to you. The car's engine color is like the car engine is E6, color is red, model is Tesla, seats are 5, type is automation. And in the behavior, like what, now you will ask me, if you are buyer, you will ask me like sir, what can I do with this car? So I will tell you that since it's a Tesla car, you can automate your drive. You can also prevent from the accidents, or you can make the accident if you want. Okay, you can wash your car. Okay, so these are the behaviors that you can do with this car. So this is the blueprint that I have given to you, that if you will have this car, you can do this points to your car. Okay, so this entire blueprint is nothing but your class. Am I clear? How to differentiate between so I have already told you that properties that is existing having in your car, behavior is the future action that you can do, your power to this car. Like if you have the car, you have the power to drive it. You have the power to wash it. Okay, so those are the actions that you will do. This is not a property. This is not an existing thing. If I show you this pen's color is black. Okay, it's a tab pen. Okay, it's without ink pen. These are the properties of this pen. But what the action and what the function of this pen is to write without ink. It's a function of this pen. I can delete it by pressing this button. This is a function of this pen. These are the difference between the properties and behavior. If you combine the properties and behavior all together, this will form a particular class. Okay? Am I clear now? है ना? ठीक है? Okay, good. ठीक है, चलो तो फिर हम आगे चलते हैं. Let's move further. So this class is clear with you all, I'm assuming. Okay, let's come to the object. ठीक है, let's come to the object. So let's take another example. Okay, ठीक है, we can do something like this as in this object. Since you have already a class, you can define this object. ठीक है, so if you define the state, like define the properties and do whatever you want in the particular with the actions, that is nothing but an object. So how this is created, like how this will be the converted in this, like let's say if you have a ball. Okay, if Virat Kohli or if Sachin Tendulkar is holding a ball, you will quickly observe that the size of the ball is 3 centimeter. Okay, the color of the ball is red. The brand of the ball is Nivea. Okay, the durability is like 2 years. The type is season ball. Okay, these are the properties of the ball. Okay, this is red. Now, once you have observed about this ball, okay, this blueprint is already with you. Now you have initialized the everything on your own. This is known as object. Now you will throw the ball, you will cut the ball, you will stroke the ball. If you do this particular entire thing, that is known as object. If you have initialized your class, this was your class as a blueprint, without the size, without the color, without the brand, without the durability, without the type. Okay, once you have seen the ball in Sachin Tendulkar's hand, you will observe that the size is 3 centimeter, color red, Nivea, 2 years, and season ball. So you have initialized, you have used your blueprint in some what way. So you have initialized your object. This is known as object. Okay? Instance of the class. Yeah, correct. Correct, Tapasvi. That's correct. Am I clear with this? How is the class used in JS? Will not go in that way, Mehak. Please bear with me. I have not explained what is JS till now. Okay, so please bear with me. This OPS concept is really essential thing in every interview. I'm betting you that in each and every interview you will have this class, like have these questions, like what is class, what is object. Then we'll also understand in future, like right now also in this, after this we'll understand abstraction, polymorphism. All these concepts will be asked in your interview, so please pay attention. Okay, okay, Vaibhav, I'm telling you. Okay, okay, so I will explain you in another format. Okay, so let's take an Vaibhav, please take an example of the car. Okay, so in the car we had initialized the properties, we had initialized the behavior. Okay, so we had ultimately created the blueprint. This is nothing called as a class. That is the properties, that means the state plus behavior. We already did this. Okay, now if you want to understand the object, then you need to tell me that, sir, my engine is 6 stroke, my car's color is blue, my car's model is Tesla E1, my number of seats are phi, and my type is normal. ठीक है, you have initialized your blueprint in your own way. ठीक है, तो आपने अपने तरीके से अपनी ब्लूप्रिंट को यूज कर लिया. ठीक है, now after this you will drive your car, you can wash your car, you can do anything with your car which is have in your behavior. ठीक है, so that is known as, this particular box is known as object. Now this is your object. Clear? Vaibhav, am I clear? Dipanshu, now am I clear? ठीक है ना? Okay, good, cool. ठीक है. Okay, so let's move further. Let's move one step ahead. What I was, I was trying to explain you. Okay. Now, uh, okay. So since we already know about the procedural things. Till now, we had looked upon two things. First was the procedural programming, and the second was the object oriented programming. Okay. So if you are working with the procedural programming, then you are concerned about your data and state. If you are working in your object oriented programming, then you are concerned about your focus is on, uh, like, sorry, in the, sorry, I mixed this because state will not be there in the procedures, right? I told you that. So if you are working with the object oriented programming, then you are working with your focus entirely will be on the state and your behavior. If you are working in the procedural programming, then your entire focus will be on the your procedure. Focus would be on the procedure. So what will be the major difference in this, if I can evaluate with the example of the baking a cake, with the same example. Okay, so in the procedural, what we did, we found a recipe book, we followed the 8 instructions, and we finally cooked the bake the cake. ठीक है, but instead this is nothing but a procedural programming. This is a procedural way to achieve your task, but world has changed. Now we are working with the object oriented programming. Now I will not concerned about how should I bake the cake, like I need to bake it at 50 degrees centigrade, or I need the salt, I need the oven. I'm not concerned about that at all. I'll just tell that I need to bake a cake, I need the cake. I'll just tell that the cake should be 500 grams. The cake's color should be green, or not green. Oh, sorry. It should be the chocolate color. It should be eggless. I'll just tell this. I'm not bothered about how you are baking a cake. So in programming, in computer terms, if I want to call someone, or if I want to make a mail, I want to send an email to someone, I'm not bothered about how will I transfer my file. In the previous example, I took the example of file, that's why I'm talking about this. I'm not bothered about how will I transfer my file bytes in network stream, how I will initialize the bus. I'm not bothered about this. I'm just bothering about how can I send a mail. Okay, so that is known as the your behavior. This will be on the on your behavior part. So will become on your object oriented part. So procedural is now not widely used since the object oriented programming takes place. Okay, now let's go further. This was like basic difference what we had already looked upon. Okay, now let's deep down in the object oriented programming. After learning the class and the object, we'll look at the 4 pillars of the object oriented programming. There are the 4 major pillars. This would be definitely asked in your interview. The probability of this would be like 200% from the 100%. Okay, so this is like that much of important. This is really important. Please understand this. I don't want anyone from you without understanding from this class. I don't want to go anyone from you to, without understanding this particular concept. These four pillars are like your lifesaver. Okay, so please pay attention. I have repeated this. I don't know how many times, but this is like that much of important. That is why I'm emphasize on this. The first point is like abstraction. The first pillar is abstraction. Okay, let's do this like this. Like just a second. Huh? Okay, so my very first pillar is abstraction. Second thing is known as the encapsulation. The third thing is known as the inheritance. And the fourth thing is the polymorphism. We will look into it in the at most detail that I can explain to you. Okay, I'll go in very much of depth to it. Don't worry about it. Okay, so let us start with first concept, that is the abstraction. Cool. Okay, so abstraction is uh, have you heard of this particular thing called as the abstract art? How many people you have heard about the abstract art? How many people have heard about the abstract art? No. Okay. No worries. ठीक है. ठीक है. Let's search it. Abstract art. ठीक है. So the abstract art is art that does not attempt to represent or accurate depiction of a visual reality, but instead it will use the shape, colors, forms, and gesture marks to achieve the effect. For an example, like this, it will have a particular message in it into it. See, if it will have a particular message in it, such as like broken mirror. It will indicate like hope or war. Okay, like this picture is indicating like focus or concentration. There will be some kind of particular message in this particular pictures. This is known as abstract art. Okay, 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 guys. ठीक है. मजनू भाई की पेंटिंग. Okay, ठीक है. So in our case, so for an example, I'll just brief about this abstract art. Like as I've already talked about it. Suppose if you have like a broken mirror, okay, broken mirror. So it will indicate anything like hope or sad, okay, and it will also like war. It will indicate war. Anything, any message could be there, right? So in short, abstract art would not have like sun or like villages and mountains. It will not have this kind of the clear things. It will have a message hiding into something else. Okay, so basically okay, so in this particular abstract thing, let us start. In this abstractions, we where we like only show the required details or the important or required details, will not show everything that we have. ठीक है. वैसे हम लोग पैसे में भी बोलते हैं like if you have more money, don't show to anyone else, like hide it with you, like keep it in safe place, don't show everyone that how much wealthy you are. That's the same way, don't show everything that you have. ठीक है. Show the important and required things only. Okay, for an example, in our school days, in our college days also, in my case, in my school days, I've learned in this particular all this like oh, oops, I think I have learned in my 11th or 12th standard, so I'm pretty much familiar with it. So in our time, the professor or the teachers gave this beautiful example that I can cite right now, that if you can show, if you can see in your switchboard. Okay, this is your switchboard, this is your 3 pin, this is your switch. Okay, this is a simple thing. Okay, You are not bothered about the wiring that is hiding behind it. You are not bothering that what how the electricity will be flow if I'll plug 3 points in there, if I'll point like two point in there, like earthing will not there, what could be the case. I'm not bothered about that. I'm not bothered about that. I'll just show this particular switchboard to you, that is it. Okay, will not show the wires and all the required things. Okay, so what is the usable thing, that that is only we will show in the abstraction thing. Okay. Or I can also take this example that in your car you have majorly you have two things. Okay, your accelerator and your brake. If you press your accelerator, your car will run. If you press your brake, your car will stop. You just know this thing only. I also know this thing only. I'm pretty much bad at automobiles and I don't know anything. Okay, so I'm just bothering about like how car will look. Okay, how accelerator is look, how easy, how smooth is that, how smooth the brake is, how hard the brake is. Okay, I'm bothering about that only. What I'll do if I'll know understand about the mechanism of the car, how the accelerator would work, how the brake is working. I'm not bothering about that. We are programmers, guys. I don't know anything about it. Okay, so this is known as like yeah, summary also you can tell. The important things only we are bothering about. Clear, people? Am I clear? Click on true if you are clear, or click on false if you are not. Okay, I've explained in my like at most comfortable thing. Okay, ठीक है. Okay, I think so 95% of people are clear. Good. This was the abstraction part. Let's focus about the second thing. Just a second. Okay. Second thing is the encapsulation. Have you guys heard about term capsule? What is capsule? Anyone can please brief me about? Can anyone please brief me about what is capsule? What is capsule? Medicine. Okay. Two colors. Okay. Wrapping. What was that? What was that? Wrapping of code and data. It's okay. Fine. Okay. Covers the main content. Perfect. Data combining, wrapping different medicines. Store. Capsule is a drug. Okay. Cover the medicine which holds something. Container. Okay. Cool. Okay. So all in all, what I can understand about from this capsule is, see, this capsule will look like something this. Okay, it may be of like two colors, or if it may can also like contain only one color. So it's not like that compulsion that it will have two colors. Inside of this, we'll have the medicine. Inside of this, we'll have the medicine powder. This is a powder. So task of this particular outer layer, this is a layer. This is my layer, and this is my main powder. This is what we need, but we will not do this way that we will remove the layer and we'll just consume the powder. We'll not do that. We'll consume the entire capsule, right? We'll consume entire capsule altogether. We'll not remove the layer. We'll consume only the powder. But we know that powder is the only thing that is usable in our body. The layer will anyway will be removed in the waste. Okay, it's a degradable plastic. Okay, so we'll consume capsule all together. Okay, remember that. Okay, now similarly how capsule would work. Similarly, the encapsulation will also have the same purpose. Encapsulation will also have the same purpose. So it's the process of encapsulation is a process of grouping the same kind of data. Okay, so grouping the units in a single unit, like grouping the same items or same units into the, like grouping the many units into the single unit, that is known as the encapsulation. It's nothing but a powder. Okay, this is the powder, this is what the powder is. Okay, for an example, and also this powder, like in this particular case, this grouping units will hold our data and behavior. You can also tell this data as state. Your state and behavior it will hold in a single unit. Okay, for an example, for an example of the phone. Okay. Okay, so uh phone was originally made of calling. It was originally made for calling only. But we discovered many things in this phone. We inherited, like we injected many features in this phone, and right now your phone is something different. It's hardly used for calling. Okay, it's although used for calling, but more functionality is improved, like social media thing, chatting, those things have improved a lot. Okay, so now we can do millions of things with the phone. Okay, things with our phone. Cool. So this all grouped all together, this all functionality and all thing grouped together and combine different group into single one. So in the particularly phones example, we have combined the you can take a photo with your phone right now. You can also email to anyone. You can watch Netflix. You can what you can do what you can also learn. You can also listen to music. So this all functionality all together is wrap up in a class called as phone. Why I have used the word class? Because it has the data, like it has a state and it has a behavior. In terms of state, what will be the state of the phone? What will be the state of the phone? If I'm talking about the phone, what will be the state and what would be the behavior? Please tell me. Size, yes. Brand, RAM, color, camera, cool. Brand, color, okay. Then features or weight, okay. So those all are called as and termed as the state. Now, what would be the behavior? Calling, perfect. Calling, SMS, mail, okay. Chat. There are millions of things now, okay. So that is why I have used the term called as class here. Okay, so is this all thing entirely wrap up and in the class, and this is known as particularly the encapsulation. ठीक है, क्लियर है ना प्रत्युष? क्लियर है ना भाई? एवरीबॉडी परफेक्ट, क्रिस्टल क्लियर सर? ठीक है, आगे चले. Once again, Ravina, Ravina, can you please brief me which particular part you want me to explain? Ravina, are you there? Please tell me. Okay, encapsulation. Okay, I'll do entire thing for you once again. Don't, no worries. So Ravina, what does the encapsulation means? This encapsulation is nothing but a part of the object-oriented programming. It's one of the main major pillar of the programming, object-oriented programming. Okay, so that is why we are learning that. I already told you the use case of the capsule. In the capsule, we have a powder which is encapsulated or the hidden like inside the layer of the plastic. Okay, the powder will be the inside the layer of the plastic that is known as the capsule. Similarly, we have the in our phone we have this much of the states like you can this much of the behaviors like when you can take the photo, you can take the email, you can also send the email, watch Netflix, learn you can also listen to the music. So this is a combination of the behaviors and the state. The inside the state, it would be the size, brand, color, and weight. So this entire thing inside the box, you have to encapsulate inside the box. This process is known as the encapsulation. ठीक है? Clear, Ravina? Am I clear? Priyanshu will not go in that part right now. ठीक है? So we'll just focus on right now. We are just focus on the basic. ठीक है? So that is why. Okay, yeah, Ravina, clear, right? Okay, cool. ठीक है. So uh, the third thing that I have for you, the third pillar is nothing but the inheritance. Inheritance is just a simple. So if you see a baby boy, okay, so this baby boy would be the product of his mother and father. Okay, this is the end product of his mother and father. That means if his mother is white, if his father is also white and fair, then there is a high chances of the baby is also white, unless there is some DNA problem. Okay, but 99% of case the baby would be white. So similarly, there are many other properties of the mother and father, like face structure, the nature, or intelligence, or those are the many properties from the mother and father would be combined all together. Some property would be picked from the mother, some property would be picked from the father. It will entirely mixed all together and create a product called as a baby boy or baby girl. Okay? So this property, this baby has inherited from his mother and father. This is called as inheritance. In programming terms, you can tell that you can something tell that like parent and child classes. Now, for an example, you have in the programming terms I'm explaining. Suppose you have your phone, है ना? You have your phone. The phone, the parent of the phone would be the electronic gadget. There is some other class called as electronic gadget. Its child class is phone. Okay? Inside the phone, inside the phone, you have your smartphone. Inside the smartphone, you have your iPhone. Okay? Now, this electronic gadget would have two properties or two state. First one is on, second one is off. So this will be entirely true for everyone. That means the phone will also have on and off. Similarly, the smartphone will also have the on and off. iPhone would also have on and off. But inside the phone, there is another feature called as calling. Similarly, the calling will be entirely true for this particular two things as well. Whichever the child class, okay, whichever the child class of this phone, which whatever property phone will have, the smartphone and the iPhone will also have the same property. But the electronic gadget cannot be have the feature called calling. This cannot be entirely true because, for an example, if I have a smartwatch, then through this smartwatch I can call also, I cannot call also. But if it's phone, then it's entirely true that I can call. That is why it's called as phone. If it's smartphone, then it's entirely true that I can uh, switch on and off that, and I can also call that. Okay, I can also call that. If it's iPhone, then it's entirely true that I can on the iPhone, I can off the iPhone, and I can call the iPhone. Similarly, if I have the smartphone, inside the smartphone I can access the internet, or I can take photos. Okay, okay. Inside the iPhone also I can take photos, but inside the iPhone I can have some unique feature that is called as Face ID. Face ID is only in the iPhone right now, right? Okay, so the Face ID would not be in the every smartphone. The Face ID would not be in the every phone. The Face ID would certainly not in the electronic gadget. The take photos functionality would not be in the every phone. It would be it should be, and it must be in the every smartphone and every iPhone. So this is the paradigm, or this is the main flow of the what we can call as inheritance. Am I clear till this point? Okay, crystal clear. I want answer from everyone, people. है ना? Let's create a poll then. Are you enjoying? ठीक है? Okay. Yeah. Cool. ठीक है. So the main purpose of this inheritance is reusability. Like if I have created a class of electronic gadget, I have declared the property of on and off, then I should not create this on and off property in every child class of it. I can remove that. I can assume that if the phone is child class of the electronic gadget, then it will have on and off. If the phone is the parent class of smartphone, or smartphone is the child class of the phone, then on and off as well as the calling feature would be there in the smartphone, because it's a child class of the phone. That means, and phone is child class of the on and off. That means on, off, and calling would be automatically be inherited in the smartphone. Okay. If it's iPhone, then it's also the same feature. I can also take photos in this. I can take photos, and I can do the Face ID. So I should not write the take photos in this, because it is inherited by the smartphone. So see, now you can see the clear code of this. It's more understandable, it is more readable, and it's more sensible thing, right? Because in every other class, if we initialize on off calling, on off calling, on off calling, but it is not making sense, right? है ना? ठीक है. Okay, good. Let us move to the final pillar, that is called as polymorphism. Okay, now we will understand it in a way that in Greek, this is a Greek term, by the way. Okay, this is a Greek terminology. In that, poly, this poly means many, and this morph, that means form. Okay, so many form in English you can tell the polymorphism. That means if I can tell you, then if you call to your friend, okay, you will casually talk with him, right? You will not bothered about like he will judge me, or he will scold me. You will not bother about that, right? Because he's your friend, right? He or she is your friend. But instead of that, if you are talking about your professor, okay, then you are a bit concerned. You should not speak some words. You should not be too much of friendly. Okay, there is a etiquette to to talk professor unless he's not friendly. Okay, so those are the main criteria that you will take care of. But the call is common here, the person is also common here. Like you are calling your friend, you are calling a professor. But in one scenario you are a bit comfortable. In second scenario you are worried, like he will scold me or he will judge me. Okay, So this is like a your many form. Like you are the only person, you are the same person, you have the same phone, but at the one time you are behaving differently. At the second time you are behaving differently. So based on the input, you are changing your state. Okay? We can also understand like this way that if you want to add two numbers, okay? If I want to tell you that please add 10 and 20, you will tell me that sir answer is 30. I will tell please add 10.2, 20.2. See here it was a integer part, here is a decimal part. See point, whichever figure is in the point, it's called as decimal or float. Okay? It's called as a decimal or float. Since this is a complete number, it's called as integer. Okay? Those who are not from the computer background, I'm explaining for them. Now you will tell me some answer that sir answer is 30.4. Now again I'm telling you, hey, please add uh, hot and star. Okay? Now you will tell me the answer that sir answer is hot star. So can you please can you relate with this? Like you are using the same function, you are using the same function here depending on the input. Here the input was integer, here the input was a decimal, here the input was the string. Based on the input your answer is changing. This is nothing but the example of polymorphism. Poly means many, morph means form. So the same thing is behaving differently based on the input. Clear? Am I clear? Yeah, inheritance we can do that, Dipanshu. We can restrict some abilities. We will look into it. Don't go in that part. Yeah, I'm repeating. Sure, sure, sure. Don't worry. I'm repeating the polymorphism. Guys, break the polymorphism into two parts. First is poly, second is morph. Poly means many, morph means forms. Okay? So the same thing, if you are the same thing acting differently based on some inputs, that is nothing but the example of polymorphism. For an example, if you call your friend, you are a bit formal, you are not worried. In the second case, you call your professor, you are worried. Person is the same, your phone is the same, but the person whom you are calling is different. That is known as polymorphism. Second, I can take the example of this as well. This is your classroom. Okay? This is your classroom. I'm not sure, yeah, you can relate with it completely, you can understand it with completely. This is your classroom, this is your bench. Okay? This is your benches, and this is a school, huh? This is a school. You have different periods. Okay? First is Hindi, English, computer. This is your class teacher's board. This is your class board. Okay? This is your door. In from this door, if Hindi teacher is coming, you all will be learning Hindi. You all guys would learn Hindi. If from this door the English teacher would come, you all people would learn English. If maths teacher would come, you all people would learn maths. The benches are same, classboard is same, people are same, students are same, willingness is also same. What is changing here? The class teacher only. So depending on the class teacher, your reaction is also changing. Okay? Is this making sense, people? Am I making sense? है ना? क्लियर है ना अभी? ठीक है? तो क्रिस्टल क्लियर है तो ट्रू कर दो, नहीं तो फॉल्स कर दो फटाफट. ठीक है, दिस इज अ फन यार, प्रोग्रामिंग इज रियली फन if you understand it properly. If you don't understand it, see, I have taken a lot of interviews, as I said in previous class as well. ठीक है, I'm also taking a lot of interviews of many freshers, many experienced people, but they lacking in terms of explaining. Like they don't know the concept. They will just tell me that, sir, this is the encapsulation if we hide the data, but they are not explaining the logic. They are not explaining in the real term thing. If you tell anyone this way, like if you explain anyone, any interviewer in this way, you will probably have good grade in your interview. ठीक है, so explain and understand the concepts well so that you can, implement it as and where it required. ठीक है, okay. So let me just see. Manoj, I'm pretty weak in my Hindi, but I'll try to, explain the concepts in Hindi. So, Manoj, you can do this, that if you don't understand any concept in English, you can just tell me. I will try to explain it in Hindi so that you can understand. Okay? Is this fine, Manoj? Uh, Vadamdullah, I'm not the one who is taking the exam of the re-level. No, I'm not that the person. Like any one to many concept. No, not entirely, Ravina. It's not one to many concept, but you can tell that it's not entirely true, but it's either, like, although it's partially true, but it's not entirely true. Ravina, you can relate it with, suppose, relate with your laptop. Okay, so in your laptop right now you're learning, so your entire focus is on learning. Your microphone is using, no, your screen is only that is using, and your keyboard is that is what it's using, right? But if, since suppose you are coding in your laptop, so your entire thing would be using, right? You will write, you will use your mouse, you will use your microphone, sometimes you will also use your camera sometimes if you are facing interviews. So your laptop is same. Depending on the situation, your task is different. Like your task is different and your behavior is different. That is what I mean to say. I hope I'm clear with this, Ravina. Yeah, according to input, the output depends. Yeah, correct. Correct. Depending on their environment. Exactly. Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay. So I'll just explain one last concept, and then I will allow you people to, go and take your dinner. Okay. We'll just see how far we have come. Okay. Okay. Huh. This was the class. Oops. Okay. So we have completed till now the procedural paradigm. We have completed the object oriented paradigm. The third one, this is a parallel programming. This is what the remaining thing. Okay, so I will explain you the third thing, which is only remaining thing. This is the parallel programming. Okay, let's say for an example, you are home alone and you have your pizza. You have ordered a pizza. Okay, and this pizza is having this much of slice 1, slice 2, slice 3, slice 4, and so on. Okay, now, unless you are not hungry animal, you will eat the first slice completely. Then only you can eat your second slice. You will not eat eight, like this, eight, five, six, seven, and eight. You will not eat eight slice entirely all together. एक टाइम पे तो एक ही स्लाइस खाओगे ना, एक टाइम पे 8 स्लाइस कैसे खाओगे? ठीक है, ठीक है. So this is a example of the batch programming, where आपका जो टास्क होगा, दिस इज योर टास्क, वो टास्क आपका 8 पार्ट में डिवाइड हो जाएगा, एंड ईच पार्ट वुड बी एग्जीक्यूटेड ऑल टूगेदर, लाइक इंडिपेंडेंटली. फर्स्ट टास्क कंप्लीट होगा, उसके बाद ही सेकंड टास्क आप पिक करोगे, सेकंड टास्क कंप्लीट होगा, उसके बाद ही आप थर्ड टास्क पिक करोगे. दिस इज नोन एज द बैच प्रोग्रामिंग. ठीक है, बट सपोज यू आर थ्रोइंग अ पार्टी, होपफुली यू आर गिविंग पार्टी टू मी, आई एम अज्यूमिंग. ठीक है, someday. नॉट नाउ, समडे। ठीक है, तो आप क्या करोगे कि सबको इनवाइट करोगे, यही सेम पिज्जा है, ठीक है, ये सेम पिज्जा है, एंड वी आर 8 people, ठीक है, एवरीवन विल पिक वन स्लाइस एंड एवरीवन विल ईट ऑल टुगेदर, एक साथ आठों के आठों स्लाइस कंज्यूम हो रही है, बिकॉज 8 पीपल है हमारे पास। ठीक है, दिस इज नोन एज द पैरेलल प्रोग्रामिंग, दिस इज अ सिंपल टर्म, पैरेलल प्रोग्रामिंग। ठीक है, तो इन दोनों में से फास्ट कौन होगा? ऑब्वियसली द पैरेलल प्रोग्रामिंग, बिकॉज आठों के आठों टास्क एक साथ एग्जीक्यूट हो रहे हैं। बैच प्रोग्रामिंग में एक टाइम पे एक ही टास्क एग्जीक्यूट हो रहा है। ठीक है, डिफरेंस इज क्लियर बिटवीन दिस टू, है ना? डिफरेंस इज क्लियर विद बिटवीन दिस टू पीपल। Parag, yeah, it's related to threading, yeah, but we'll not go in that. Yeah, I'll explain it in Hindi. No, no, in English. Okay, fine. So what I said is, inside your parallel programming, there is a two terms. First one is this your batch programming. The second one is obviously your parallel programming. Okay. Let's say about the batch programming. Suppose you are a home alone. You are hungry. Okay, you are hungry now. You have ordered a pizza which has the 8 slice. Okay. So you will not eat 8 slice all together. You will not eat 8 slice all together. Together you will not eat. You will complete the first slice. You will complete your second slice. You will complete your third slice. Then after you will complete your 8 slice. Okay, that is how you eat the pizza. But so this is the program. This is the example of the batch programming where your individual process will run one after another, not all together. In the in this case, suppose you are throwing a party. You have only one pizza, you have 8 people, you have 8 slice, every one of them will pick one slice and they will eat. So all 8 people will eat that particular slice together. Okay, so this is known as a parallel programming. In this particular parallel programming, since the 8 slice is consuming altogether, the pizza will complete faster compared to the batch programming where you were the only one who eats the pizza one after another. Okay, so parallel programming is bit faster compared to the batch programming. Am I clear with this now? Yeah, multi-threading, yes, perfect. Maximum parallel. I'm about to come into that. So in your CPU, you have heard about like 8 cores, 16 cores. So those are the example of the parallel programming where your task would be divided in multiple cores and that will be completed faster compared to the batches. Okay, so that is the main use of the 8 core, 16 core CPUs. Okay, so in each core will be responsible for a particular task. Okay, first case one person is eating 8 slice and another case one slice person. So if everyone eat same amount, both will be same. But Shivam, I said like in the first case in the batch programming, you cannot have multiple programming like multiple threading altogether. You cannot execute parallel programming. ठीक है, टास्क पूरा कौन करेगा? Like I'm not getting that. One core will be doing one task exactly. Perfect, Jaslin is right. One core will be responsible for only one task. That means if you have your process, like your big process, suppose you have this much of your process, you will divide this process in chunks. This chunks will be go in particular one core. Suppose 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, you have 8 cores. Okay, right. Let's suppose you have 8 cores. One first core, second core, third core, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. So this particular chunk will be go in this, it will go in this, it will go in this, go in this and this. Okay, so your task would be comparatively finished faster because you have divided it. This is also known as divide and conquer. People, am I right? Making sense? What is trading? Please don't go in that into that. Will not touch in that. Okay. Dipanshu, that is another day's discussion. What does the time duration of that? Okay, will not touch that. Will slowly moving progress. If core is getting increased, the process of computer will be more efficient and faster. Perfect, Hariharan. You are absolutely right. You mean first one is single threaded, second one is multi threaded. Perfect. Yeah, I mean that. ठीक है ठीक है core means like Rahul. Core means see my CPU is right now 8 or 16 core. Okay, you can also see in your particular computer or laptop how many cores you have. Like core means particularly CPU cores. I'm talking about CPU cores. Who is responsible for dividing the tasks? That is our CPU only. Okay, we will decide that. We'll decide that our OS, and there are many other factors who will decide that, Priyanshu. Okay. In JavaScript, there is async await is that related to to this. Uh, we will see that Navneet, many of the people in here will not understand what is JavaScript, what is async await. Okay. Load balancer, no, but yeah, somewhat relatable to load balancer. Okay. Don't go deep down into the no advanced concepts. We just right now learning the basics, and I'm just setting the plot. Actual coding will start from the Monday. Okay. I'm just setting the plot right now so that your building could be strong enough. Okay. Task scheduling, what do you mean by that? Like we mean to say like task scheduling, like so there are many algorithms for that, Vadimala. Vadamdula, I'm hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly. So there are many algorithms who will decide like which task could be executed one after another. So we'll also look into that NDSA part. Will we get closer to advanced topic? Yeah, we will. But see, right now I'm just setting the plot. As I said, Dipanshu, will actual coding would be start from the Monday. Will we go through OOPS concept through programs? Yes, definitely. Parallel programming performance altogether at the time and faster. Yes, yes, yeah. Okay, cool. So this was yeah break. Okay, I know. So I'll just bear with me just for 2 minutes. We'll just go with the slides and then you can have your break. Okay. Uh, okay. So what is programming that we have already seen, like set of instructions? Why we need that? The computer will understand 0 and 1. That is called as binary. You know. Okay. And it also known as like we need the compiler in order to translation from human language to machine level code. It is written here. Okay, so you can read through slides. I have explained each and everything, every concept from the slides. So programming, what's the use of the programming to solve like it will solve the complex mathematical equations or render 4K videos. That will be the example of the programming concepts. Okay. So different type of programming that we have right now, we have used the procedural and object oriented. These two we will be using after the break. Okay. So in the procedural, there are two parts I think they have mentioned. Sorry, in the procedures, that this will be like entire thing will be followed by the procedure only. So C++, Java is also one of the main example of the procedure. Like without the one thing, the second line could not be executed. Okay. In the object oriented programming, there are four major pillars. Firstly, they have explained about the class and the object that we have already looked upon in detail. Okay. And secondly, they have also talked about the main four pillars about that. That is the abstraction, polymorphism. See, there is a polymorphism, abstraction, inheritance, and encapsulation. Okay. So you need to like go through that. See, they here it just written as like just only one line or little bit low content, but I have explained in detail. So I hope you are clear with that. है ना? Next, we will just start with the functional programming when you will come after the break. Okay. So till now, anything that you need to me to discuss? I think so. Everything is clear, crystal clear with you. Jasleen, please don't go in the all pros and cons of all types of paradigms or programming. I hope like I already explained you in detail. Like in the procedural, your time would be more. In object-oriented programming, it would be based on your particular class and events and the behaviors. But we will look into it after we'll complete this entire thing: functional, declarative, object-oriented programming, and procedural programming. Don't worry, I'll touch upon it. Okay? Yeah, today time flew. Correct. Okay? So can we take break now for 50 minutes? Okay? So we'll come back exact 10 at 10. Okay? Yeah, I will share this PDF. I'll share this PDF uh, and my notes as well. Okay? You all need my notes or not? So that I can share with Reliable team. They will share it with you. Yeah, I'll do that. Okay. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll share my notes. Fine. Okay? So come back. Be energetic. Okay? Goodbye. Uh, at exact 10 or 10 to we will meet here. Okay? Come back energetic. Okay, yeah. Welcome. Yeah, am I audible, guys? Are we back? Everyone is back. You have your dinner? You all have your dinner? Okay. ठीक है. So just a minute. Okay. ठीक है. So uh, we were about to complete, like we have completed the object oriented and parallel programming. ठीक है. We have looked upon in detail the types of the object oriented programming, that is class and object, and in the object oriented programming we have also looked upon the four pillars, that is abstraction, uh, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. ठीक है. Now we will focus on the another two, which was the no remaining thing. Just a second, I'm sharing my screen again. Let me know once it is visible. Visible. Okay, cool. ठीक है. Okay, so now we will discuss about the two things, that is the declarative programming. Like the first one was the procedural, no? And the second one was the declarative programming paradigm. ठीक है. Okay, it again have two types. ठीक है. The first one is the functional programming, which is really popular nowadays. The second one is the database the database paradigm, or the data driven programming. ठीक है. Cool. Okay. In the functional programming, it will focus on the functionality. We'll just focus on the functionality. Now we will, when we call the function, like when we call the functional thing or functionality or method, you can instantly relate it with the one thing, that is we can, like our main agenda here is to, like in the class we had state and the behavior, right? So our agenda here is to just focus on the behavior, is to just focus on behavior and not the data. Like how you get the data, that is not an important thing. What you do with the data, that is important thing in this functional programming. And the example of this functional programming is simple, like JavaScript is your functional programming language. The Python also your functional programming language, where you can also inherit it, like you can also implement the object oriented thing as well as uh, the procedural thing. Both you can implement in here. ठीक है. ठीक है. Next is so in this functional programming, let's say for an instance the JavaScript, we can implement the object oriented programming here, also the functional programming here. ठीक है. Okay, cool. The second type of programming here, it is the database or the data driven programming. Here our focus is entirely on the data or the state. ठीक है. Not the behavior. We will not focus on the behavior at all. That means, for an example, the SQL means the structured query language. ठीक है, this is the language for the database thing. ठीक है, when you want to fetch the data, you can use the SQL. So let's say for an example, don't mix or don't confuse with this. ठीक है, now let's say for an example, I have the query called as select uh, name from employee. Right now these things might not be familiar with you. When we learn the MySQL in detail, we will look into it. Okay, for an instance, you can just assume that this query would fetch or get all the name from the employee table. Let's say for an employee, in the employee table you have hundreds of employees. You want to get the name from the employee table. So you are just focusing on this data. You are not just focusing, like you are not at all focusing on how this query will get you the data. You are just focus, your focus is entirely to get the data. That is all, your task is done. So this is the example of the data driven programming. ठीक है, ठीक है, I'll share the entire notes with you guys, so don't worry. ठीक है, so for an example, till now everything is clear. So I can now compare each and every programming language in terms of real time thing, so that you guys can be more clear, है ना? This is not a difficult thing if you have understood. ठीक है, am I clear with this, everyone? Yeah, cool. ठीक है, now we will take the example. Now we will take the example that we right now we have learned, till now we have learned the procedural, ठीक है, the object oriented programming, the functional programming, and the last one was the what, the data driven programming, correct? ठीक है. Okay, so let's compare each and every one. Okay, so let's say for an example, we take the example of the cake itself. Okay, so in the cake, if you want to make a cake, then you, in the procedural programming, you just follow the recipe of the cake book, recipe book of the cake. In the object oriented programming, since if you are working in the object oriented programming, then you're working on the cake's property and its behavior. That means its state and its behavior. If you're working in the functional thing, then you or if you're working in the, like in your functional thing, then you will we forgot one language here, like one programming thing, parallel programming. We also learned that, right? Okay, so in this parallel programming, if you are working in this parallel programming, then your entire focus would be on like cut the cake in slice and eat them as soon as possible you can, because it's a parallel programming, so you have to be fast. Okay, if you're working in the functional programming, that is entirely based on and entirely focused on your function or your behavior, not the your properties or your state. Okay, so in that case, your function, your entire focus, like your function to cut cake in equal sizes, can I say that? Okay, this is your function, you have to focus on that. In the, if you're working in a data driven thing, then your entire focus is on browsing cake shops and list down anything, like list down the eggless cakes. So here our main focus is to get the data. Like this is the entire focus on the data. Like I want to make a list of the eggless bakeries. So this will come in the data driven. Now if I want to make if I'm working in the functional thing, then I'll cut my cake in equal sizes. This is just a function. Your function could be anything, like your function could be eat the cake, your function could be to throw the cake away, anything. Okay, in a parallel programming, Your function is to cut the cake uh, your cut, yeah, like your function could be your, like, cut the cake in slice and eat them. This would be your function when you're working in the parallel programming. In case of object oriented programming, you're working with the class. Since you are working with the class, then class is the combination of your state and behavior. State is nothing but your properties, like how your cake should how your cake should look, how your cake should weigh, it should be eggless or anything such as this kind of things, and your behavior thing. In your procedural, it's simple. Whatever written in the book, follow that, make the cake and enjoy. Okay, so these are the comparison of each and every thing that we have looked upon. Are this component of the programming? Yeah. Am I clear? है ना? Everyone, am I clear with this? ठीक है. Functional programming, you are not clear, Vishal. Okay, I'm explaining. Yeah. So functional and data driven, I'm explaining again. ठीक है? Don't worry. So see, in the declarative programming paradigm, you will just focus on one thing at a time. Okay, so in if you are working in functional programming, let's say for a javascript is the example of the functional programming language. Okay, so in this functional programming, you will just focus on the functionality, you will not focus on the data. Like for an example, in the javascript, you will not focus on how your data is coming, you are just focusing on how to arrange the data and how to get the most out of the data. So agenda here is to just focus on the behavior, not the data. That is the main agenda here in your functional programming. We'll look everything in the JavaScript. Like we are learning JavaScript today only. Like I will go through some of the concepts of the JavaScript today if the time permits. It is the example of the functional programming. Okay? And the data driven programming, which is like come to the end of the death, like it's not more popular right now. Functional programming is really popular because you can see the node.js. You can also I can also show you the Google Trends, how the JavaScript is, popular right now. We'll see right now. Okay, so in the data driven programming, your focus is entirely on data. So see this query. In this query, in this particular query, your focus is on to get the name. That is all. You will not bother about how this statement will work in the backend. You will not work on that. You will just get the name and return it to the whoever has requested that. This is a example of the SQL language. This is a structured query language. This is used in the database. We'll use this in the MySQL in a quite a very near term, after some 2 or 3 lectures. Okay, from Monday we'll start the actual programming. Okay, from today also we'll start somewhat the programming. I'll just show you after this. So this all term theoretical term that we have learned till now, in this out of this 4 term, if you want to learn anything, if you want to take out anything, I'll highly suggest learn this properly. Oops concept. That is all. This all are not very much usable right nowadays, but OOPS concept is really important in parallel programming. ठीक है, OOPS is really important. ठीक है, so yeah, uh, am I clear? I'll just create a poll. ठीक है, if you're clear, then click on true, or else no. Declarative paradigm is new thing. Yeah. ठीक है, so 5 4 3 2 1. Okay, so I guess approximately 87 people are clear with me. Those 13% people can post them their doubts, or they can also ask their doubt in doubt session, or whichever they want. Am I clear? Can I go further? Can I move ahead? You want to learn JavaScript now? Can you say real time application for these 4? Okay. Tejasvi, I already explained about this. See, I think you have missed this. If you want to work on the real time thing, then see, I have explained in terms of our cake example with the all four programming or 5 programming terms or paradigms. Okay? So in the procedural thing, if you are working, then you will just follow the recipe of the book. and you will get your cake. In the object oriented programming, since the object oriented programming is focused on class and object, your cake, you are working on cake's properties and behavior. You will not focus on the back end of that. Like for an example, if you are uploading a file, then your entire focus is on the uploading the file only, which file you want, how much size of the file would be. It will come in the object oriented programming. In the backend, how network thing will work, how the connection would establish, which call would make, which API will be called, that is not your job. Okay, if this is your job, then you are working in procedural programming. But if not, then you are working in object oriented programming, which is nowadays very famous, because procedural thing is like one time process only. Okay, it's reusable. Like for an example, if you are working on the additional thing like addition program, then addition program is already defined by someone else. You don't want to go in that, you just have to call plus this plus thing, you know. So this is the thing. In the parallel programming, in the parallel program, we'll look into it in detail in the network thing. So in the parallel programming, you have to cut your cake in the slices so that it will get completed faster, and you have to eat it, because parallel programming is focused on the faster thing. Your each job would be executed in separate core if it's possible, so that your task could be completed faster. That is why we are focusing on multi-core CPUs right now. We are not focusing on, like, initially it was quad core, in before that it was dual core, before that it was Pentium 4. Okay, so Pentium 4, dual core, quad core, octa core. Okay, right now it's like I think so octa core and hexa core also is famous, more famous in that level also. Okay, and there are also two CPUs are there, two octa cores. So in total there are 16 cores also. You can also do this customization in your hardware. Okay, so those are example of parallel programming, so that your processing power would be improved. In your functional programming, you have to cut your cake in equal sizes. There any kind of function, any kind of behavioral pattern, you can focus in that. JavaScript is the main example of that. And similarly, in the data driven, you have to focus on the data. So you have to fetch the data. So in this case, I have taken example of like browsing the cake shop which has like eggless cake. You have to fetch that from the internet or anything like that. So these are the all terms of programming terms. I hope I am clear now. ठीक है, clear है? Okay. Now one last thing that is pending in the theoretical part, then we'll actually move in the JavaScript part. Will we learn design patterns? Somewhat yes, in the live projects, but not the entirely. Okay, don't worry, you'll get to know about it. You will learn the best designs, best design patterns in our projects. We'll use that. Okay, so now we'll learn, like I already told you the example, I already cited the example of PM Modi and PM Putin, right? Mr. Putin. So they didn't know each other's language, so they have used a compiler in between, interpreter or translator, you can say. We can now go deep in that. We can go in the no compiler. What is compiler? We just look into it. Like initially I was about to touch it in this topic, but I want to clear with those topics first. So what is a compiler? So suppose this is your code, this is your code. Okay, this is your machine. uh, this is your machine, and this code is in your like any programming language like C sharp or JavaScript or Java, anything. Okay, for for your information, JavaScript and Java is not the same thing. Okay, I'll just come to that point after this topic. Okay, so after this code is written, you have to compile that in order to run in this particular machine. So what does compiler do? Compiler will take input as any language, like as any language, and convert it to, like I already told you earlier in this lecture, computer or any machine will understand the binary language, so it will convert this language to binary language, so that your machine would understand that. This is the main task of the compiler. ठीक है, ठीक है. But this is what we have already seen. ठीक है, but There is also another thing is called interpreter. Okay, so there are two types of programming language. One is scripted and one is programming languages. So scripted language uses this interpreter, and other languages uses compiler. Why and when? Let's look into that. So first, well, let's look into the interpreter. So in the interpreter, you will obviously accept the code in the interpreter. Interpreter will also convert this code into the binary language. ठीक है, binary language, after the binary language run, after the binary language it will run on CPU. ठीक है, and it will show you the response. Up to this point, your compiler and interpreter are same. So what does the interpreter, like compiler, do? Compiler will take the code and convert into the binary language code. So you can say that this is the file, this is the main file, like .js file, like code.js file, you can assume. Okay, not JS file, like code dot uh, we can say like Java file. Okay, code.java file. If you compile this particular file, then it will ultimately generate a code, generate a file. After the compilation process, it will generate another file which will be entirely a binary language or machine language code. Okay, machine language code. So this, you can run this machine language code in any platform, like irrespective of any platform you can run this code, because since it's a binary language code. So compiler's job is just to compile your code and show you the output of this particular file, okay, of binary language code. But in case of interpreter, it has to generate this binary code, but it has to run it on the CPU as well, so that it won't no throw any error. It If it will throw any error, then it will show in our response. It's not, it's also reflect in our response. So this is the main thing in the compiler and interpreter. So based on this thing, what do you think? Compiler is fast or interpreter is fast? Compiler is fast or interpreter is fast? So scripting language is nothing but it use the interpreter in between. Okay, compiler is fast because why compiler is fast? Can you please give me the reason why compiler is fast? Correct. It takes, yeah, it executes by binary form. Yeah, it just convert. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All you guys have got my point. So we'll just no go a bit in detail in this then. So interpreter will execute code line by line, whereas compiler will execute code all at once. So let's take an example. Let's take a live example of that. So for an example, I have a book which is written in Russian language. I want to convert this book in English language or Hindi language, but I don't know Hindi much, so I'll not say about Hindi. I want to convert it in the English language code. Okay, in English language book. Okay, okay. So what I'll do? Can you please tell me that it is possible that I'll just convert two chapters of my book in English and other eight chapters are in Russian? Can I do that? I cannot, right? It's not feasible, right? If you want to convert the book, if you want to translate a book, then you have to convert each and every chapter, right? But otherwise it won't make any sense, है ना? ठीक है? Correct है ना? Okay, fine. So this was, and in this case, you can tell that since it's completely translating the book into the English language code, English language, you don't have any option, because two chapters we have converted, eight chapters you have not converted. It's not making any sense. Okay, so this is an example of compiler. Compiler works in the same way. It will do every execution or every conversion at once only, and after that it will show error. Suppose you have 100 lines of code, sorry, 101 line of code, okay? You have error in the 100th line, so it will not execute anything, okay? It will just show you that you have error in your 100th line, you cannot execute your code. But in case of interpreter, you have same 101 line of code, you have same error at 100th line, okay? In case of interpreter, it will execute 0th to 99th of line, it will run 0 to 99 line, and then it will show you the error, ठीक है? तो डिफरेंस समझ में आ रहा है? कंपाइलर में वो पूरा प्रोग्राम नहीं रन करेगा, ठीक है? इट विल नॉट डू दैट. In case of interpreter, it will first run whatever it can up to this line is not reachable, okay? It works like this. So for an example, so yeah, so it's basically do this. So I hope this thing is clear. Let's not go and no do this. So yeah, and one more thing, like scripted language scripted language such as JavaScript uses interpreter, and other language such as like Java, they are using compiler. I'll tell you why it's using interpreter, since it's compiler is fast, okay? But then only why JS is using interpreter, I'll explain you that. Yeah, JS don't have compiler. Obviously, like compiler is better because it takes less time. Jaslene, okay? Am I clear with this? People, am I clear with this? Okay. What is weird engine? We'll look into it. Don't worry. Today only we'll look into it. Okay na? Okay. Okay. So now we will focus on our main thing, that is the JavaScript. Okay. So now I'll just tell you one story to you. See, uh before JavaScript, Java was really famous. Okay, Java was famous. So if I can tell you, like JavaScript's initial name was the ECMAScript, not JavaScript. Its first name was ECMAScript. Okay, then they have changed its name to JavaScript. Why? Because for an instance, if you have heard of event called see in the no in our town, in our village town, there is a famous event called Nodila. Okay, it's a famous event in our town. Like I was in our village, like in our village also there are many good programmers. Okay, so they have organized, they in each and every year they are organizing this event called Nodila. Okay, this is a coding platform. But in our neighbor town, in our neighbor village, they have also the same practices. So what they do, like we printed the Nodila's brochures, and we stick into like each and every other streets. So what they did, like our neighbors village boys did, they under our poster, they have stick their own poster. Okay, so in as a outcome, they have become popular by our name. Okay, because people know us like Nodila. What is Nodila? Our town people also know us. The event was also like bit interesting. Okay, but they got popularity with this. So same case, the same scenario went here. Initial name was the ECMAScript, but they were not famous. So what they did at the time, the Java was famous thing. So they changed their name to the JavaScript, and they become popular. Okay, you getting this, everyone? Okay, we are slowly moving now from the main part to the JavaScript. Navneet, I was telling you that in which part, Navneet, you want me to repeat? ECMAScript. So the name was the ECMAScript, which was like JavaScript. JavaScript का पहले नाम था ECMAScript. I'm telling you that. But they, since the Java was famous at that time, they have changed their name from the ECMAScript to the JavaScript. तो JavaScript का पहले का नाम ECMAScript था. Let's see what is ECMAScript. I will show you. Yeah, ECMAScript. Let's just first for the ECMA. So see, the ECMA International is the non-profit standards organization for information and communication system. Where yeah, so this is the one. European Computer Manufacturers Association is the full form of that. Okay. So the initial name of the JavaScript was the ECMAScript. See, this is the thing. Is ECMAScript same as JavaScript? So you can also read these articles and you can also no go through for this. Will not go in that. ठीक है ठीक है clear है everyone clear है ना cool ठीक है okay now what I'll do just a second in my tab there was one thing I'm mistaking out. Okay, so in the JavaScript, since we have learned a lot of things. Now what we do uh, hmm, okay, so this thing I explained in my previous class with another team. Okay, but I'll just tell you so that you can understand more about JavaScript. So see, in any browser, let's say for an example, if anything is there, like for an example, W3 schools. Okay, this is the page of W3 schools. Okay, so in this page, you can see that there are this much of text. They are clean. The UI is really clean, you know. But if I'll go here and I'll click here, the entire board, like entire list is came out. List has came out. I click again here, it collapsed down. So how this thing is working? Okay. So see, your page is clear. That means your HTML and your CSS is clear. This thing you can achieve with the HTML and CSS. Like whatever you are seeing in this page, you can build it with the HTML and CSS. Okay. So this is a good thing. But but if you want to achieve the dynamicity, like if you click here, you have to achieve something else. You have to click here, you do something else. If you double click here, you have to do something else. Okay. If you click on here, you have to land some other page. See, I have land to the some other page. So these are the functionality which is called as dynamic thing, which is not fixed. Dynamic thing, this all can be achieved through the JavaScript. So these are the basic term HTML CSS, which is responsible for the static content, which you can just see. You cannot interact with it. But with the help of like JavaScript and on top of the HTML and CSS, you can do wonders. Like you can build anything that you want. Okay? So this is the most important thing. Okay? But now another thing came out that in the JavaScript, suppose if I click F12 here, so if you want to uh, run, if you want to land up in this console page, you what you want to do, either you can press F12, okay, or either you can click right click on the page, you can press on this inspect, you can land in this page, you can click on this console. Okay, this is the same in the every other browser. Every browser you are working with, this procedure is same. Okay, right now everyone is with me at this point. Okay, till this point everyone is with me. Great. Okay. So now what we will do? JavaScript, since JavaScript is pretty much yeah, one more thing. One other guy has asked just now why JavaScript uses interpreter. We'll look into it. But one important thing that I have missed out, that I told you that sir, इंटरप्रेटर में कंपाइलेशन में कंपाइलेशन प्रोसेस में लेस टाइम लगता है, बिकॉज कि we just need to convert our code to the binary code. Here we have to convert as well as we have to run. That is why it will take more time. ठीक है, but nowadays our capability, like our hardware capability, has increased dramatically. ठीक है, since compared to past couple of years, है ना. So since the last 5 or 10 years, since in the last decade, our hardware capability has increased a lot, that you cannot bifurcate the difference, the time difference between this and this, like compilation and interpreter. You cannot measure that. So if you want to make an experiment, then those who guys are from no computer background, make a experiment that write a program of no printing 1 to 100 in Java, and the same thing you can run from the in the JavaScript. Make a timer and see the difference. The difference would be negligible. Okay, so this is not no feasible thing nowadays. Like due to our increased capability of hardware thing, this thing won't matter much, है ना. ठीक है, so I just want to tell you this. Okay, so what HTML use compiler? See, HTML is not a no. HTML does not want to compile or interpret anything. Dynamic page is like a Facebook page. Yeah, users will see their own page with their own feeds. Yes, yes, that is the dynamic thing. Static page means W3 schools page. Everyone sees the same page. Correct. Perfect. Perfect. But the difference is, uh, see, if I go and in this W3 schools, and if I'll just click on this run HTML, I can do this anything like, see, try it yourself. Okay. So see, this is your page. Suppose मान लो कि ये आपका पेज है, तो इतना ही. ठीक है, ये आपका ब्राउजर का पेज है. So this is called as a static page. सबको यही दिखेगा, है ना. You cannot do anything with this and this. You can just select it. You cannot do anything with this. Suppose tomorrow Prime Minister Modi opens this page, then also he can see this only. And if we are opening this page, and then we also see this, the same thing. This is the example of dynamic static page. ठीक है. Compiler, interpreter, and JavaScript uses that combination. Uh, okay. I think there is something available. Composition. Vasu, I'll read about it. Like, I don't know that. No, as per my knowledge, it uses interpreter only because it's a scripted language. Okay, scripted language won't have a compiler. Okay, so please read from your side, and let me know. Do R&D that we had, in the first lecture. We concluded, do R&D on your own and let me know. You know, in HTML, how it converts to the machine code without compiler and interpreter. See, Jasleen, in every browser, in every browser, there is something called as engine. Okay, JavaScript engine, or engine we can call as. So in the Chrome or in the Chromium we use V8 engine. In the Edge also we use, nowadays we use V8 engine. Before we use Chakra. In the Firefox we are using SpiderMonkey. So these all are the engine. Okay, so you can read more about it, like browser engines. You can just search about this. So you can use the Wikipedia for that. Okay, and uh, 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 not this one. Chrome. See, this is a V8 engine that is Chrome is using. Okay, so you can learn about the JavaScript engine. Okay, you can also call this as JavaScript engine. You can just search about this. Why? What is JavaScript engine? Okay, It will something come like this. JavaScript engine is a software component that executes JavaScript code. The first JavaScript engine were made of interpreters, okay, but all relevant model engine just in time compilation and improve the performance. Okay, what is GIT? This is called as GIT compilation. So what is this? We'll look into it. Node is also using something like this. Okay, the JavaScript engines are developed by web browser vendors and majorly has uh, major browser as one of the most component of it. Okay, so in the Chrome we are using the V8 engine. If you want to show the no see the list of the JavaScript engine, so you can do this. See in the Google, this is V8. In the Mozilla, there is a Spider Monkey. Okay, in the Apple Safari is the JavaScript core, and Chakra is in the Internet Explorer, but Internet Explorer is now dead. Okay, so Edge also using the Google's V8 engine. Okay, so this V8 engine is something called as Chromium. So my browser is not Chrome, my browser is not Edge, my browser is Brave. Okay, so see, this is my browser. This is my browser. Okay, this is a Brave browser. So this is not a Chrome browser. Okay, but still it's using the Chromium. It's based on the Chromium. It's nothing but a V8 engine. That is why it translate your HTML or any JavaScript code into your main thing. Am I clear with this? ठीक है cool ठीक है so we'll move further. We don't have much time now, but still now we'll just see on this. Stop sharing just a second. Let me just first just a second. Okay, can you see my slides? Oh, okay. Jasleen is saying you could elaborate. Okay, 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 okay. Cool. ठीक है. See, guys, HTML is not a programming language first of all. ठीक है. So it needs not to be converted in any sorts of thing. All right. So it's like yeah, its full form is like hyperlink markup language, but it's not a programming language. Okay, so it's neither use interpreters, like it's neither use interpreter or nor it's using the compiler. Okay, so if you want to read more about it, if you want to know more about it, like let me know. Just a second, I will just show you this. Uh, how HTML code runs in browser. Okay, you can search something like this, or you can do something like this, like HTML uh, uses compiler or interpreter. Okay, you can also use something like this. So see, HTML is text markup language, therefore no need to use compiler or interpreter. Okay, but browser do under contain some similar to interpreter, like I said, like right, browser's own internal thing will convert this. So it's not a language. HTML is not a programming language; it's a text markup language. So it will just for beautify thing, okay? Or it's just for textual thing. So it needs not to be convert in it any sorts of form. When compiler and interpreter things come, like where you want to convert your code into your when you want to run your code into your machine, then you have to use your compiler or interpreter. I hope I am making sense. Okay. Anyone have doubt now? Jasleen is clear now. Okay, Vasu says, sir, machine understand binary, so how it understand HTML? See, Vasu, that's what I'm telling. Your HTML is not understood by your machine; it understood by your browser. And HTML is not a programming language, so don't confuse in that, in between of that. Okay, ठीक है? Am I clear, everyone? Okay, I'm creating a poll. Let me know. I'm so sorry, I missed your doubt. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so it's like 94% of people are clear with this. Browser understand HTML extension file. Yeah, correct. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So now let's move on the slides now. So this is the functional programming. I hope you are clear with this. So see, my main ultimate aim is I could wrap up this class a bit early because it's not a hard and fast thing, right? But I don't want you guys to learn the things. I want you guys to remember things till lifelong. Okay, so I don't want you to mug up the things. That is why I'm explaining. I'm putting this much of effort in explaining each and everything. All right. So, okay. So Jocelyn says, what is there inside a browser? What converts the markup language to machine code? Jocelyn, I'm saying this is not. You need not to convert in machine code. Okay. Okay. You need not to convert this in machine code. It's just a textual thing, right? So it will work on the ASCII characters. Have you heard about ASCII characters? Jocelyn, I'm explaining about that only. That uh, your your particular HTML code would convert your code into ASCII character. So suppose if you write small a, then it will encounter, like if you write small a or capital A, then it will encounter 65 97 value, and similarly it will execute the code. Okay, am I clear now, Jaslin? है ना? Okay, yeah, think. ठीक है, okay. So in the functional programming, now I am I'll just revise whatever we have learned. I wanted to you to know hands-on on the JavaScript today, but still, okay, no problem. And yeah, I have shared more some links in the description in the no chat window. Am I audible now? Tapasvi says no voice. Please refresh your page. So I'm just sharing those links. Please install that. If you have some time, then please install that. Otherwise, we'll do in the tomorrow's class. But at least please download the compile, like download the software file for that. Okay. Okay. And Postman. Okay. So these three things, please install. Since we are working in backend, so Postman would be important. Okay. Okay. So functional programming languages were created specifically for. Mm, 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 this is not needed actually. We had understood it in a better way. Okay. But yeah, the declarative programming would be the main thing that you want to be emphasize on. So see, the is SQL and Prolong are two declarative programming languages. It's the data driven languages, and similarly with the the functional programming, the JavaScript is the your functional programming language. Okay. uh, uh, okay. So when the declarative programming would be useful, when we want to keep the code factorable and clean, because you are working with your functions, your code would be anyway the refactor and clean. We will learn about it when we learn about the functions in JavaScript. Okay. The reusability or readability of the code would be at most, and the database queries need to be placed. Okay. I Daljit, I had just no gave the links for the Node, VS Code, Postman, and Chrome. Okay, if you have not if you have not installed any of this, I will highly request you to do this. Can we install it on Mac? Yeah, obviously, Aishwarya, you can do that. Or else, if you not finding a particular link for Mac, then just let me know. I'll post it in the chat section. Okay. Node, Priyanshu, I think I haven't shared the yeah, I haven't shared the link for Node. So sorry about it. That was mistake. Difference between programming language and scripting language. Okay, okay, yeah, good question. We'll convert. We'll see about this in here only. So see, scripting language, that means your JS, and compiled language, that means your Java. Okay, keep this in mind so that it will be easier for you to understand. So scripted language are in essence the programming language. So in C, what I can do, like you can also read from this, but all and all, the scripting language would use interpreter, compiled language would use the compiler. So in the compiled language, you can run this language code of the compilation code in any language you want to learn, like any platform you want to learn. But in case of scripting language, it would not be the case. So the compiler programs are generally faster, like it would anyway faster, like we have mentioned. Okay. And interpreter programs, they are transformed from native machine code first, like we have to run it on CPU. Therefore it's slower as compared to compilers. So compilers examine and interpreter code just at once. Okay. And reporting any faults, like we had seen about the like 0 to 101 code, right? So if you have found any error, then compiler will return the code, like return the error after the execution, and interpreter will stop the execution into between. So the code may contain collectively, whereas the interpreter reads and analyzes the code statement each time, encounters them, and stopping them immediately. See, this word is immediately. Okay, so interpreter will stop immediately, and compiler will give you the after compilation, all the error will be displayed at once. Okay, okay. So the JavaScript, PHP, Python, VB script would be the scripted language code, and C, C++, Java, those are the traditional language, and those would be used the compilation. Okay. Yeah, Tapasvi, I think this should be in the available in the pre-read. If not, let me know. I will share it with you. Superior means like better. So if I'll tell you that Nikhil is superior from someone else like Ojas, so Nikhil is more intelligent. I mean to say, like hypothetical. Don't take it personally. So superior means better. Okay, Jaslin? Jaslin, am I clear? Okay, so you are asking the superior. Okay, which one is superior? So Jaslin, it's depend on your use. See, okay, because as I mentioned that if you like, see, Java is not a bad language. Okay, so if you have the purpose that you want to be, your code to be more secure, or you want to inherit more multi-threaded things, then you can go with Java. Okay, but if you are working with like you have more functions in your program, you may have more capabilities, you may have to use more reusable components, then you want to use the JavaScript in that place. Okay, it's completely depend on our thing. Okay, but why we are using JavaScript nowadays? Because if you want to learn if you learn JavaScript, then you are clear with your backend, like you will develop your backend with Node. You will have your server with Express. You have your front end, it will be on the React, and your database would be on the Mongo. Okay, so you can anyway achieve this functionality by just one language. But in case if you are learning the Java, okay, so you have to learn many languages. Like from the backend, you have to learn Java. For the front end, you have to learn jQuery or JavaScript. Okay, so that way. So it's completely depend on you which you want to use. Okay, everything is better, like Java is also more advanced, and JavaScript also more advanced, but we are using JavaScript because the ecosystem of JavaScript is more advanced right now, more enhanced, and everyone is using JavaScript. That is why we are using it. Okay. Yeah, you need to require, but we'll do it tomorrow in the tomorrow's class. How we know that we use programming language or scripting language? You don't need to. ठीक है, we'll see if we are working in any project, then प्रोजेक्ट के डिजाइन पार्ट में हम लोग लैंग्वेज डिसाइड करते हैं. सो दिस विल नॉट like we don't have in our mind that this language is interpreted language, or this language is scripted language, or this is compiled language. We don't decide on this parameter. Okay, we don't decide on this parameter. We decide on this parameter that ecosystem of this is well or not. If we encounter any error, then we can get support well or not. Okay, the security and enhancement and updates are well or not. On this parameter we'll decide. Okay, node link, Ajay, let me share it with you, just a second. Okay, so I have posted the Node.js download link. If you have some time, please decide, please install that. Jasleen, as I said, you don't need to decide on this parameter that this is a scripting or compiled language. You need to decide on your requirements. Okay, I have installed previously. Okay, you have to decide on your requirements, which requirement you have. Based on that, we will decide. We'll not decide on based on that this is a compiled or this is a scripted language. These both are good in their own environment. Okay. Yeah, I'll share Hariharan. I'll share it with reliable team. They will share it with you. I cannot share it with you. Jasleen, I think okay. Let me give you the real life example. If you are not getting that, I'm sharing my screen with you. Okay. So, if you have a specific requirement wherein you have to design a web app, है ना? In that you have many modules such as login or sign up or payments or many more such kind of modules. So, okay. So this particular site you can develop in Java as well, in JavaScript as well. Okay. So there is no compulsion that you have to follow this standard to use Java or JavaScript. Okay, there is no compulsion in it. I'm repeatedly explaining you that. Okay, there is no compulsion of using this particular two languages based on your requirement. Okay, but in the Java, if you use Java, then there are certain advantage, certain disadvantage. If you use JavaScript, there are certain advantage, certain disadvantage. You have to figure it out which advantage you want to use, which drawback you don't want to use. Okay, in case of Java, the advantage could be your security. Okay, your multi-threading. Okay, your scope. These are your Java maintainable behavior, like easy maintainable. In case of JavaScript, yeah, in the Java disadvantage would be like it's hard to implement. Everyone don't understand Java. In case of JavaScript, the advantages are way more. Advantages are way more, such as you just need to learn one language. Okay, in the JavaScript, the advantage could be it also uses like functional programming. That is means easy to implement. You can access whole lot of npm packages. They are more matured. Okay, so you can have this kind of advantages over there. The disadvantages I cannot figure it out. Okay, disadvantage I cannot list it out right now. Okay, and in the Java, the another disadvantage could be that in case like in your front end you have to learn another language in order to implement your front end, but in case of JavaScript, your back end and front end both could be taken care of. So based on this thing you can decide of, not based on like compiled or interpreted thing. I hope I'm clear with this. Jasleen, am I clear with this? ना? Okay, cool. ठीक है. Closing give z access in this. Yeah, cool. ठीक है. Okay. So yeah, please bear with me for another 10 minutes because there were a little bit of doubts in between, so I could not able to cover up. You know. So in the JavaScript, I we had already seen the intro of that. Okay. So we'll just keep this. Huh. Already. Okay. We also seen this like in the static document. We want to include dynamic thing, then we can use the JavaScript in that. Okay. And we also seen this kind of paradigm. ठीक है, we seen this framework also. HTML CSS, through HTML CSS you can achieve the static thing. JavaScript is taken care of the dynamic thing. ठीक है, incredibly powerful scripting language enables us to create almost anything that we can imagine. ठीक है, and CSS is just for the design purpose. है. Okay, and yeah, and JavaScript also uses for this thing like playing video or audio, validating input from the web forms, or repeating the like repairing browser compatibility issue. So validating input, I think so you already have no, like if you are working with Gmail, then sign in. ठीक है, so in that if I don't enter anything, it will validate, like ठीक है, so this thing will be done from the JavaScript. Yeah, I am audible now ना. Okay, ठीक है, so this thing will be taken care of from the JavaScript. Okay. uh okay, validation also can be done through HTML. You can do, but this cannot be like dynamic validations. You cannot do dynamic validation through the HTML. But although like you have to use JavaScript in some or other way. Okay, there's no other way of doing that. Okay, and suppose like I was about to tell you this, so I guess so I need to. Okay, so we'll stop our session from here. We'll continue this session from no, I don't want to jump here and there. So I need to understand how to run JavaScript code. I need to give explanation on that. So we'll continue from tomorrow with this. Okay. No can be validation can be not cannot be possible through HTML. See, Jasleen, validation cannot be possible through HTML. You are right, but he's telling me that some way, like as in the HTML, we can show this particular line, like enter your email ID or this kind of thing. We can show, but this is not logically true. That is why you are right that JavaScript, we need JavaScript, like okay, there is no alternative of that, because we need to at the end of the day we need to process the things, and then we have to decide whether the input is valid or not. If input is not valid, then we have to show error message, otherwise we will show the error message. Okay, so today I think so we have run behind from our actual target, but I am pretty much sure that you have enjoyed the session, because I want to like give more emphasis on OOPS concept, and more on like how we are working in actual terms. Okay, so how was the session of today? Have you learned anything new? uh okay, yeah, thank you Pratyush, Jasleen. Yeah, thank you. So I'll just create a final poll. Yeah, I'll share Ankit. So what I'll do, guys. I'll do that. I'll share this particular PDF of this class of whatever I have written. I'll just convert it into a PDF and I'll share to the re-level team. They will share it with you for sure. Okay, because I am not part of the Slack group or WhatsApp group, so I cannot be share it with you. But I'll make sure that they will share it with you for by tomorrow. Okay. Yeah. Thank you everyone. Okay. So have a good day and a good night. Learn more and watch some recording if you have some time, because those oops concepts are really important. Okay. So I want every one of you to have go through that. Yeah. Good night. Bye. And if you have some time, install that particular things softwares that I have given. Okay. Bye. Yeah. 10 a.m. It would be 10 a.m. tomorrow. Okay. Click on true if you have learned new things today and you have enjoyed, and click on false if you have some doubt. Okay, so 10 to 1 I guess so. Okay, cool. Okay, 98% I got. That's pretty awesome. Thank you guys. Okay, bye. We'll meet tomorrow at 10. Okay, bye. You can watch recordings, Nilanjan. ठीक है, गुड नाइट।